In this video, we're going to learn how to compare and order fractions, decimals, and percents. Before we begin with comparing and ordering them, though, I'd like to review the number line a bit. So here's our number line, and I've put 0 here in the middle. And the numbers to the right of 0 are positive, and the numbers to the left of 0 are negative. So as we move from left to right on our number line, the farther right a number is, the more positive it is. And as we move in the opposite direction, from right to left, the more negative it is. So, as we're deciding which one's bigger, what we're really deciding is which number is farther to the right on the number line. So here's the first type of question that you're going to see. You're going to see two numbers, and you need to decide which one's bigger, and you need to place a greater than, less than, or equal sign in this statement to make it true. When I look at this example, the first thing that I notice is this example is a fraction, and this one over here is a decimal. So in order to be able to compare them, one of the things that I need to do first is get them so that they're in the same form, because comparing a fraction to a decimal is a little difficult. I personally prefer to change everything to a decimal, and then it's a whole lot easier to be able to compare them. So as we remember from working with changing fractions into decimals, remember we look at the fraction itself and we read it going down and we divide, because this fraction bar right here means divide. So we're actually going to go 5 divided by 6, and that's what we're going to put into our calculator. 5 divided by 6 is 0.83, and remember the 3 repeats. So that means I can write that like this. 0.83, and the bar is going to go over the 3. But there's a 1 in front of this, so this is actually a mixed number. So instead of having a 0 here, I actually need to have a 1, because this is 1 and something. So we have 1 and the decimal here. And I'm going to bring this negative sign down. So let's compare this to this over here. Remember our number line. And we're looking for which number is going to be farther to the right. Well, this is negative 1, and that's negative 1, so those are the same. So now we can compare the next place over. This is an 8, and this is a 1. If I think on the number line, and these are both negative, the 8 is going to be farther to the left, because remember we count down. It's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, going this way. So the 1 is going to come first, and then the 8. So this one right here is actually going to be farther to the right. So that means that this number is actually bigger. So I'm going to write my inequality so that it opens up towards this number over here. The second type of question that you're going to see is you're going to need to order sets of numbers from least to greatest. Again, we have that same problem. We have a decimal, we have a percent, and we have a fraction, and they're not all in the same form. So we need to get them all in the same form so we can compare them. And I suggested decimals because I think it makes it a little easier. So here we have 2300ths. That's already a decimal. We need to change 19% into a decimal, and remember to do that we need to divide by 100 or move the decimal twice to the left. So if the decimal point is right here at the end of the 9, I'm going to move it over once, twice. That means it's going to be here in front of the 1. So this is the same as writing 0.19. And 1/5, remember you're going to read this going down, so it's going to be 1 divided by 5. 1 divided by 5 equals 2/10. So that'll be 0.2. And now I'm going to look at these and think on my number line, which ones are going to be farthest to the right? Well, one of the first things I notice is this has 2 place values, this has 2 place values, and this one has 1. So we can just add a 0 on the end to make this a little bit easier to compare. So this looking at this one's going to come first on my number line. So that means it's going to be the smallest. And our directions up here say we need to put them in order from least to greatest. It's always a good idea to go back and look at the directions. Which way do they want them? Sometimes they want it least to greatest, and sometimes they want it greatest to least. So we'll want least, or the smallest, to greatest, the biggest. So the smallest one here is this one. And remember, these are the actual examples in the problem. So these numbers up here are the ones that we actually want to use. So 19% is the first one that I want to write down. And then the next one to come, well, after 19 hundredths will come 20 hundredths, and that is the fraction 1/5. And then last comes 23 hundredths. So in order to do this problem, I changed them all to decimals, and I wrote it underneath. I decided which one would be farthest on the left of my number line, because these needed to go from least to greatest, and I put them in order. And remember, one of the number one mistakes that students use is they use the decimal answers in their final answer. But remember, it's these numbers right here that were given to us in the problem, so these are the ones we actually need to use in our answer down here. And that's all you need to know about putting fractions, decimals, and percents, comparing them, and ordering them.